If you have ever built a Power BI report and had numbers slightly off, totals that didn't add up, filters that showed the same region three different times with different spellings, or a date column that would not sort correctly, the problem almost certainly started before Power BI. It started in the data, and Power Query is where you fix it. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 7 of the most common data cleaning steps in Power Query using a deliberately messy data set, so you can see exactly what each problem looks like and exactly how to fix it. Stick around for step 5, because that is the one that saves analysts the most embarrassment in front of stakeholders. Hey, I'm Arlen. Welcome to Data with Arlen. Let's get into it. Okay, so I am now sharing my screen. I've got Power BI open, and I've already pulled in the data source, Power Query Dirty Data. This is the set that I'm using. Now, normally when we do anything with Power Query, you can immediately get to it when you pull in your data. You'll have the ability to load the data or transform it. If you don't do that, you can always get back to it by going to Transform Data at the top and then just clicking Transform Data. This will pull up the Power Query window, which is where we're going to be working in this video. Now, as you see, one of the things once we get this fully loaded up, before we do anything, we want to look at the region column. So if we look at the region column, we'll see that we've got a variety of different formats. We've got some with the capital first letter capitalized, some lowercase, some all caps, and all different types. So what we want to do is, if we look at the applied steps panel on the right now we only have the source and the promoted headers, and there's a change type here as well, because I've actually come in here before and that's the only reason it shows up. But every step that we take is actually going to record here in the applied step. So any type of change will be recorded. So if you decide you want to go back or de-apply that change, you can easily, or if you just change your mind, you can easily remove this step and it can revert back to what it was before. So that's one of the most important things to understand about Power Query. It is non-destructive. You can go back without changing the source file. You're just building a set of instructions that run every time the data refreshes. So the first thing that we're going to do is remove the blank rows, actually. Now, if you scroll down in this table we have here, you'll see that a row, there are some blank rows like this one right here. So not every row is filled. This happens all the time with exports. Someone inserts a blank row, and for visual spacing in Excel, and it comes through your data and it doesn't look right. So you be having a missing row. So one of the things that we can do easily is go to the Home tab within Power BI, Power Query, and then we're just going to go to the Remove Rows option. So if you see here, you see how it says Remove Rows. If you select this, it breaks out, and we can just go to Remove Blank Rows. And once you do that, what it did is it removed any blank row that we have, actually. And this actually wasn't a blank row. Actually, we'll address this later. This just had null values here. So with one click, you see the blank row is gone. So if you look at the applied step, Power Query added it here, remove blank rows, and it recorded it. So when you go through and you do all of your updates, they're not actually applied until you click close and apply, and then it'll save the changes and run through all of these steps just to make sure everything is done, and then it gets applied to your data set. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove duplicates. Now this data set has 2 duplicate rows, actually order ID 1008 and order ID 1013. It actually appears twice in this list. So if you look here, we've got 1008 here, 1008 here, we have 1013 there, and it's actually here as well. So they're duplicates. Now this happens all the time, but the worst part is that this can really throw off your data and really mess up your counts if you do not catch it. So one of the things we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and click on the order ID column here. We're going to select it. It's already selected now, actually. Now in the home tab, we already have that selected. I'm going to go ahead and click home, just make sure it's still selected. We're going to remove rows again, and we're going to say remove duplicates. And once we do that, there we have it. It removed those duplicate rows. So now we went from 30 rows to 28. Those 2 extra rows are gone. So you notice we selected order ID column first, and that tells powerquery to base the duplicate check on that column specifically. And then you see it added it to the actual remove duplicates. And you can leave it like this. If you decide to go back, remember, you can always remove your change by just clicking the X in front of the applied step. And for this data set, order ID is the unique identifier. So that column alone is really enough to apply this change. All right, on to the next one. We're going to remove the notes column. So there's a column, if we scroll over to the very end, which doesn't have much data in it. There's only a few things where there's data in it. So it's not necessary really to have this. Carrying unnecessary columns through your data model really just wastes memory, and it adds visual noise in the fields pane. So if it's not going to be used in a report, it should not be in the data set. So we want to go ahead and right click on the notes header, and we're just going to go to remove. It's just that simple. And there we have it. It's removed, gone. You can always come back and add the step back if you want. If you change your mind, remember, you can just click X next to the applied step. All right, next we're going to rename columns to consistent names, because if we look at our column headers right now, I'm going to scroll over, look at all the column headers right now, we have order underscore ID, and we also, the order date is every first letter of the word is capitalized. The same thing with customer name, and even there's some trailing spaces as well that you can't barely see. Also, quantity has an abbreviation, and total amount also is fully spelled out as well as 2 words. So this is inconsistent, and it makes your DAX formulas harder to write and your field pane harder to read. So the professional standard, and one that will match how most database names name their columns, is lowercase and then snake case, which basically means all lowercase, no spaces, using underscore. Snake case is like this. This is an example of snake case. So this one is good. And so we're just going to go through and apply it. We're going to go ahead and leave this one as is. Order date, I'm going to just right click, and we're going to just rename, and we're going to make this the snake case also. Add this to lowercase, underscore date. We can do the same thing with customer name. I'm going to go ahead and rename that. And we've got that renamed. All right, region, it's just one word. So for consistency, we're going to not use any caps. We're going to go ahead and switch that. Same thing with product. We're going to rename that as well. Lowercase. Quantity, we're going to spell it out so it's consistent with the others. And we've got that spelled out. Unit price is already good. Total amount is the last one we're going to go ahead and change and rename that one. And it's just going to be underscore amount and lowercase t. All right, there we have it. Now, every column is clean and consistent and clearly named. So when you use your DAX measures, it'll be easy to write because you know everything will be the same consistency. Okay, on to the next one, step 5. We're going to fix inconsistent text values. Now, this is one that I mentioned in the intro, one that causes the most visible embarrassment. When you put a slicer on a report and your stakeholder sees North with the first letter capitalized and then all letters capitalized, and then it's just kind of messy. So we're going to go ahead and now scroll over. We're going to go ahead and click on region. We've got region selected. And then we're going to go into the transform part of the ribbon at the top. And we're going to look for the format option. because we're going to be formatting the text that's in here. So we've got transform selected. And then if we look at format, one of the things that we're going to do is we're just going to select capitalize each word. So if we select that, there we have it. We've got consistency across the board. Every first letter is capitalized here. It was just done in one step. All right, on to the next one. Step 6, we're going to trim white space. So leading and trailing white spaces are usually invisible in most views. You can't see them in the cell, but they're there and they break filters and relationships. So if we look at, let's see here, we're going to go look at some names here. Emma Rodriguez here, you see there's a trailing space at the beginning right here as well. So those are two clear, that's a clear example where you've got the trailing the white space at the beginning. And so this can definitely throw things off as well. So one of the things we want to do here, we're just going to go ahead and click on customer name, that column. And then in the transform tab, we're going to go back to format. We've got it already selected. We're going to go back to format, and then we're just going to go trim. All right, so that fixed it. You can see it immediately. It removed that space in front of Emma Rodriguez. All right, on to step 7, data types. Now this is the last step and one of the most important ones. powerquery usually will guess the data types when it loads a file, and it's often right, but not always. When it gets a date column wrong, dates will not sort correctly. When it treats a number as text, your sum formulas will just throw errors. So you always want to verify your data types before you close Power BI. So one of the things that you want to always look at is like dates. In this case, I think Power BI did get it right. But let's say, for instance, this wasn't a date type. We can click on it, and then you can go to change type. And then as you see, it's already set to date. But if it wasn't set to date, maybe it was text, you can simply switch it to date, and it'll update all the values in that column. So in this case, it did a good job. We've already done that. Next thing we want to go ahead and check is the quantity column. So right now, quantity is set to, let's go ahead and check it. We've got it set to whole number, and that's correct. So it's good to go. If it wasn't, you can switch it. And then the last one is going to be the unit price and total amount. You can just actually mouse over it and see that it's already set to either decimal or whole number. Unit price actually should be decimal, actually. So we're going to go ahead and switch that. I switched it to decimal. Total amount also should be decimal. I think right now it's at whole number. So if you just click on it, you can actually just click on the little symbol and then switch the data type here when I switch it to decimal. Without having to do the right click. So we've got both of those switched. So if there was any decimals here, they'll be accounted for in our data. We are good to go. Now, one more thing before we close. If we scroll down to row 1010, which is this value, in total amount, there's a blank value there. This is a real world data decision. I think it's right here. As you see where it says null, you'll have 3 options. You can leave it blank and handle it in DAX. You can replace it with 0 using replace values, or you can filter out the row entirely if the record is incomplete. For this data set, I'm going to replace it with 0. But the key point is you make that decision constantly here in PowerQuery, not in the DAX formula later. So this can kind of save you some time. So if we click the total amount column, and then we're going to go, we already got that selected. We're going to go to home, and then we're going to go to replace values. We've got gone to home, and then we are going to replace values here. I've clicked on replaced values. So we're going to go ahead and find or type null. We're going to look for null, and we're going to replace it with 0, and then just click OK. And there we go. It fixed it. It replaced it with 0. So we can do the same thing with all of these other ones. Place values and then switch that to 0. For the sake of this video, I'm not going to go through and do each of these. I think you get the picture. You can replace the null values with 0 across each of these columns. And then you're done. And then so lastly, now that we've done all of the 7 steps, you can see them all applied here. And the only thing we need to do is click close and apply, and it will apply the changes. So I've just gone ahead and click close and apply. Power BI loads the data. You'll see it's loading, it's refreshing, and it takes us back into the report screen. It's going to see pending changes here at the top. And then there we have it. It's applied all of those changes. So we are good to go. We've got 28 rows, no blank rows, no duplicates, 4 clean region values, consistent column names. We've got the correct data types as well. And that is the difference between data you can trust and data that's quietly giving you the wrong answers, which you don't want. That's really it. So, of course, 7 steps. 1 was remove blank rows. 2 was remove duplicates. 3 was remove columns you will not use. 4 was rename columns consistently. 5 was fix text casing and capitalizing each word. 6 was trim leading and trailing spaces. 7 was set the correct data types and handle blank values intentionally. So if you run those steps on any new data set before you build a single visual, and the reports you build on top of it will be solid. So most analysts skip cleaning because it's not this visual is building the dashboards, but it's the fastest way to build trust with the people who read your reports. Because if you show wrong numbers, they're going to lose trust in what it is that you're showing. Now, if this video has helped you, and I genuinely hope it did, please subscribe. We are building the data crew from the ground up. And if you're here, you're already a part of it. Every single subscriber tells YouTube that this channel is worth sharing. It's completely free. It just takes a second, and I will never waste your time. So next up, you can check out our Power BI for beginners. The link is on the screen. You can build your first dashboard and see how to do it. Now that your data is clean, that is the natural next step. So connect it and build something people will actually use. The link is here. Take care, and I'll see you there.